May 30th, 2014. You're looking at a barrel of leaking nuclear waste that contains plutonium and americium in the underground WIPP facility in New Mexico, guys, just east of Carlsbad. The white substance on top is where, when this barrel burst the top, salt collapsed. You can see this on all of the things that are stored around it, including a cardboard box, some other things. Looks pretty haphazard, but there was conflict over using this neutralizer, and the neutralizer is what's reacting and causing the barrels to burst. Let's look at some of the emails starting back in May 17th. This is going back and forth, guys, on whether or not they could approve the neutralizer. Notice in the green it says grandfathered in, but it says no record of STR approval. But approval is assumed, and that product was on site when Robert arrived in 2011. Guys, we're going into emails. This is from back and forth from Los Alamos down to WIPP and talking about the different chemicals. But it says the use of the product is approved. The subcontractor in-house must perform the initial surveys and or exposure monitoring. Now, notice Andrew J. Ezel, Andy, the Environmental Programs, Los Alamos. Now, he was replying to this. In an effort to better ensure acids and/or bases are neutralized, we would like approval for use of liquid acid and base neutralizers. He says, when using the current dry neutralizers, often any free liquids are completely solidified before we are able to confirm a neutral pH. Guys, this doesn't get any better. It goes on, he says, I believe immediate solidification would resolve any critically safety-related concerns associated with the introduction of these aqueous liquids. He said, but look, from the limited research I have done, it's elemental plutonium and plutonium hydride. It's likely to be encountered as are water reactive, but there should not be a significant reaction if any aqueous fluid makes contact with plutonium dioxide. But with his limited research, they've approved this. Now, these barrels are stored all over the United States waiting to get here. This is the WIPP plant. Now, it's important to notice these dimensions: 5,220 feet wide, 4,540 feet long, 2,150 feet deep. Goes down 7 floors. Again, this happened on the 7th floor, the 7th coffin, as they call it. That's the building we saw in the image. This is an image from underground where they forklift this stuff in and store it. It's basically a salt cavern, like Corn Bayou. Says after analysis, the Station A filter was found on February 15th, 2014 to be contaminated with 4,335 BQs of americium-241 and 671 BQs of plutonium-239 and plutonium-240 per cubic meter. Bob Alvarez, former Department of Energy official, stated the long-term ramifications, and this is my point of the whole video, of the WIPP issue is being grounded in the fact that the Department of Energy has 66,000 cubic meters of transuranic waste that has not been disposed of due to the fact there is no long-term plans. Brilliant. In order for transuranic waste, including 5 tons of plutonium that are inside the Savannah River, that's Jackson, South Carolina, guys, and as well as the Hanford Nuclear Reservation in Washington State. In an article in the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, Alvarez wrote, the waste containing plutonium blew through the WIPP ventilation system, traveling 2,150 feet to the surface, contaminating at least 17 workers and spreading small amounts of radioactive material into the environment. You can pause this, but it goes on to say that much of the waste that was pre-1970 is simply buried a few feet underground at different Department of Energy sites. And this is what we're dealing with. Look at, you've got from Hanford up in the top left, everything comes down to all the way from Savannah River in Jackson, South Carolina. There's an image of it from the ISS, guys. But again, much of it simply a few feet underground. Now, it just gets better. It goes on to talk about they went into this salt formation that's 250 million years old because it's stable, and the plasticity effect of water and salt collapsing and sealing cracks. But because drilling or excavation in the area will be hazardous long after the area is actively used, there are plans to construct markers to deter inadvertent human intrusion for the next 10,000 years. Oh, well, they're going to put up "Don't walk on the grass" signs. Well, it's too late. I'm going to show you why. This is the whip plant. This is just the building on top. But underground, you've got an area almost a mile long and 4,500 feet wide, 2,150 feet deep. These spots you see are oil wells all around it. What happened to the markers? And think about it, guys, markers to protect the most dangerous location on Earth. There should be armed guards, barricades, huge walls. But no, they're drilling all around the edges of the salt dome, all the way around it. We saw what happened in Louisiana at Bayou Corn. Disaster. Now, at the most dangerous nuclear facility on Earth, especially in the United States, most countries have banned this. But out of greed, the United States has continued to do it. They almost did it in Yucca Mountain, Nevada, guys. But Harry Reid couldn't have sold it to the Chinese after he stole it from the cattle ranchers. If they'd done that, remember, even the Chinese are not this stupid. And what are we looking at? Population thinning? While they hide in the bunkers? We know we've got things coming from the solar system. But man is destroying this. Satan, with his temptation of greed, has destroyed this earth. But what does Revelation tell us? It says the nations are angry. They will destroy those that destroy this earth. So you bankers and oilers, as you count your money, I want you to remember that. There will be a lot of people here while you're burning in the lake of fire. Your soul's not going to make it. Heads up, be safe.